Hey, hey, what's happening? All right, give me about 30 seconds to get the right angle. And I appreciate you guys joining me live. I'm on YouTube and not Facebook, but Instagram. Sorry. So I appreciate you being here. Um, as I talk, feel free to ask me any kind of health questions you guys may have. Um, the games, the psychological warfare that is out on us in regards to our health and the food, it is real. So that's what I'm here for. But give me a couple of seconds. I want to get some other people opportunity to join us. But today is the first day of 21 days of real wisdom. 21 days of real wisdom. So I'll be here every night, 9 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern. So join me, spread the word. If you've ever had any kind of struggles with food, this is the place to be. So as I said, at any time, feel free to drop your health questions and I will try to do my best to answer all of them. All right. All right. Well, I'm not going to be here long. I kind of always say that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I always start out with just a little bit of information to share with you guys before we get into answering health questions. So feel free to type them in now and I will get to them by the end of my little chat with you. All right. So just some things to think about, as I always like to do. So again, the name of this series for the next 21 days is 21 Days of Real Wisdom. All right. So with this series, the kind of wisdom that I'm talking about, I'm not talking about um, the kind that comes with degrees, right? With this back to school series, as I like to call it, obviously it's not the kind that comes with bells and detention slips, right? This is definitely grown folk talks. This is life school, soul school, however you want to call it, but it's things that they should have taught us, but they didn't. So tonight, get ready. Class is officially in session. All right. Now, before we go too deep, let me tell you guys, or let me share a little story with you. It's somewhat of a joke that I've heard before, so it's not originally mine. So it's a joke, but at the same time, it just really makes you think, right? And obviously, those are things I like to share because they call me Dr. Denise Thinks. All right, so there was a man who was given just 2 weeks to live, right? So the doctors told him there was nothing else they can do. Now, this man, he was a good guy, like really good guy. He kept all of the commandments. He helped strangers. He mentored kids in the community, never really asked for much, a very hard worker. But this particular time, since his diagnosis, he was really desperate. So he didn't have a lot of money saved up to leave his family, and he didn't want to leave them with nothing. So this is the one time that he actually prayed to God, please, 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 God, I don't ask for much, but let me hit the lottery just this once. I want to bless my family before I go. So he prayed about that. A couple of days went by, nothing. He prays even harder, still nothing. A week passes, he's still broke, right? So now it's 2 days before his final diagnosis, and he's crying out to God, God, why won't you answer me? I've lived right. I've helped people. I've sacrificed. I've done everything that I was supposed to do. Why won't you bless me? Suddenly, the room gets still. And then he hears a deep voice that is like booming from the heavens, right? The voice that he hears says, my child, do me a favor and buy a ticket, buy a lottery ticket, right? All right. So a little bit of a joke, but actually is so much reality into that because I see, especially my people, doing a lot of praying. We do a lot of crying, even visualization techniques. But if you don't show up and take the actual steps toward your health, and for this example, you're just waiting on blessings that's really waiting on you, right? So if you felt that, do me a favor, type in the comments, I'm buying my ticket. Okay? Because every time you reflect, every time you make a wiser choice, you're buying your way into a better life. All right. So tonight with this live, I want you guys to do some reflection. And in my school, which is my group that I have, SKOOL, I give a lot of techniques and ways to meditate on how you can begin to rewire your thoughts. All right. So maybe this is your lottery ticket here tonight. All right. So let's go because class is officially in session. And I apologize. I'm looking in different directions because, again, I'm on multiple platforms with YouTube and Instagram. And I'll see if I can add Facebook, but I usually sometimes have trouble with that. So, anyway, let's get into it. All right. So, tonight I'm going to kick off with one powerful question. All right. What is wisdom and how can you get more of it? Or how can we get more of it? Because I want to get more of it as well. I don't have all the wisdom that I want. I desire to get more and more and more of it, right? So let's start out by defining it. All right. This is my definition anyway. Wisdom to me is not necessarily knowing more facts or, again, having more degrees, right? It's about having better judgment. It's about pausing before reacting. Wisdom is about seeing clearly when life can get a little bit blurry, right? So, wisdom is what shows up when you operate off autopilot and start thinking with purpose. Do you guys understand what I mean about operating in autopilot? Type in the chat. Let me know if you do. Yes, yes, maybe. Okay. All right. So I'm glad that I love questions. I've been a professor in higher education for nearly 15 years. And it really does bother me when my students would have a question, but they're too afraid to ask. So please, please, please always, ask questions. There's probably other people that have the same question. So please, please, please always ask. All right. So, what do I mean by operating autopilot? Um, it means doing things without giving it a lot of thought or really paying much attention. Okay. So, let me give you this example. When you wake up in the morning, you probably have pretty much the same routine. You may get up out of bed, you may go right to the bathroom, urinate, do whatever you got to do. You might go to the kitchen next. Well, hopefully wash your hands, then go to the kitchen and then turn on that pot of coffee. Then while your coffee is percolating, I don't know, I don't drink coffee. Does it still percolate? I don't know. But while that coffee is being brewed and getting hot for you, you may, I don't know, meditate or you may, whatever it is that you do. We pretty much have the same routine in the same order almost every single morning, especially if you have a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Another example is, and I know this has happened to me, there's been multiple times where I have driven somewhere and it's the same route that I go, like from home to work or work to the park or to the park back home or something like that. Something that I do often in the same direction. There's a lot of times I don't even realize how I got there. I don't remember the actual drive. And so that's what I mean by operating an autopilot. And that's actually really scary, but I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one because We take the same direction and go the same route every single time. So we become robots almost. And so when it comes to our food, that's actually how they want us to operate. They stress us out so much. They make us feel like, we need to live a certain lifestyle with so much money in the bank, and we're trying to hustle and bustle and get there all of our lives. We look up, we're 40, 50, 60 years old, and we're not where we want to be, or really more likely, we're not where society says we should be. And so we get stressed out. And what happens when we get stressed out? More than likely, we'd rather go through a drive-through than go to the grocery store and and cook at home. That's usually the last thing that most people want to do. So we get into this same cycle where everything is just on autopilot. We just do things without thinking. So, for those that are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. They call me Dr. Denise Thinks because I help you think better and more clear about the foods that you love that don't love you back. All right. So, on that note, let me give you some truth that most folks don't tell you. All right. You don't find wisdom, you actually practice it. Okay. So, that goes back to the whole autopilot thing. So, when we're talking about food and when it comes to food, it's not just about what's on your plate, it's really about what's on your mind. You see, wisdom, it kind of shows up between the craving and the choice, right? So, it's about between, so to speak, I want this or I deserve better, right? How many times have you said that when you're thinking about choosing what you want to have? So, the only way to make better food choices consistently, especially if you're in a high stressful job, or you just have a lot going on with your family or whatever that it is, the only way that you can consistently make better food choices is to start practicing wiser thoughts and behaviors around food. Practice wiser thoughts and behaviors around food. So ask yourself this. Here's some questions to ask yourself. What am I thinking before I reach for that snack? And you may be thinking right now, it's like, I really got to practice this kind of stuff before. Yes, you do. Because we've practiced so many other things around our health and we don't even realize it. We've practiced going to the club or wherever every single weekend to numb ourselves, which that's a whole nother topic that I'm not trying to get into tonight. But we've practiced a lot of things around our health that we don't realize. So if you're ready to unlearn some things, then yes, I need you guys to pay attention to these questions that may help you. And so you can create new habits. Okay. So let me ask you again. What are some of the thoughts you may have when you reach for a snack? I want you to literally ask yourself that the next time that you want to reach for a snack, whether it's chips, cookies, whatever that it is. Okay. The next question I want you to ask yourself, is this hunger or is this a habit? Is this hunger or is this habit? So when you come home 6 o'clock every evening and you go in the cabinet and you reach for those chips, is that a habit or are you really, really hungry? Now, it could be hunger. It could be hunger for sure. But let me tell you this. Let me give you something to think about. Did you know we're actually only hungry every 38 to 42 days? Yes, days. So if you're eating every day, if you're blessed enough to be able to eat every day, you're probably not hungry. It's probably more like a habit. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into fasting and all that kind of stuff. That's not what this chat is about. But more than likely, you're not hungry. And I'm not saying don't eat, but once every 38 to 42 days, I'm not saying that either. But I'm here to help you get out of the rhythm of loving the foods that don't love you back. Okay. So let me go back to the first question. What am I thinking before I reach for that snack? Second question, is this hunger or is this habit? And the third question I want you to ask yourself, am I eating to nourish myself or numb myself? Okay. Again, that whole numbing, eating or drinking to numb ourselves. I talk, I say things that I really, really want to say. But when it comes to things about the industry that is purposely making us want to reach for the bottle or snacks and things of that nature, I can only talk about that in my school. Okay. SKOOL. I'll link I'll give you guys the link in the chat. Actually, let me go ahead and do that right now. It'll take just a second because I want you guys to join me there because I'm able to say what I really, really want to say. Here, I try to keep it as clean as possible. I've already been banned and shadow banned and all that other stuff. I'm trying to keep from that happening again because I don't want to have to start over, create a whole nother page. All right, let me do the same for IG. Okay, so hopefully you guys can join me there. If you're not able to, if it's not a hyperlink and you can't copy and paste, just go to SKOOL and find me at dr.denise.thinks. Dr. Denise Thinks is the page name. All right, so back to it. All right, let's see. So when you ask yourself those three questions, just understand that every bite is a decision. Every meal is a message to your body. And every craving is actually a chance to pause and practice. Okay. I have a list of things that when we have a craving for something, that's usually an emotion or a trigger in our bodies telling us we're actually hungry for something else. Like my niece used to crave ice. She was actually craving magnesium and some other minerals. I can't remember because she may kill me for this, but she was about to start a cycle. So her body was asking for more minerals, right? And that's not just for her. That's for a lot of people. That happens to a lot of people. We crave salt. We crave something crunchy. We usually, when we're craving something crunchy, we're stressed out. So listen to those cravings and just pause for a second and say, okay, what is it that I'm really, really craving? What is it that I really need? How is it that I'm really going to get fed? Because after you've gone through that whole bag of chips, you're still going to have that craving because those chips may be a temporary satisfaction for about what, 10 minutes, 15 maybe. But if you haven't directed yourself towards solving those issues, the craving is still going to be there. Okay. So again, that's what I'm here for. So what are some of the things that you guys crave? What are some of your favorite foods? I get it. In my group, I also offer some healthier replacements for foods. Chips is one of my kryptonite. Like I just bought 2 bags earlier today when I went to the grocery store. Okay. So I'm not here to show like I'm perfect. I am far from it. But I do try to have healthier options, right? Because some of the foods and like the chips, like the oils that are used, the canolas and the vegetable oils and things like that, that really breaks down our bodies. So if you're experiencing arthritis, or tendinitis or any kind of itis, honestly, look at some of the oils that you're using. And it's yeah, it's probably breaking your body down. Now, oil is one of the fattest foods on earth. So I don't care if you're using grapeseed oil or avocado oil or olive oil, those are better oils. However, if you're frying everything almost every night, you may want to figure out how you can lessen that up. But again, that's what I teach. I teach you how to no longer crave the foods that don't really want to be eaten by you. Okay. All right. So the thing with that is